Hi everybody, my name is Lavish Chawla. This is a video abstract for our research project on scale without conformal invariance in bottom-up holography. This work is done in collaboration with Mario Flori and is funded by the National Science Center of Poland. The motivation to study this problem comes from the structure of conformal algebra. Here on the screen in the big green box, you can see the algebra of generators of conformal symmetry, where M is the Lorentz transformation symmetry generator, P is the translation symmetry generator, T is the scale invariant symmetry generator, and K is the special conformal transformation symmetry generator. If we look at the first two brackets, we can see that this corresponds to the Poincare algebra and is realized in relativistic quantum field theories, and the most famous example for that would be the Standard Model. If we look at the complete algebra, this is realized in quantum conformal field theories, super Young-Mills field theories in 4 dimensions, etc. But we can see that the intermediate part, which incorporates Poincare and scale invariance, is never realized in physically sensible model. And this is what we are calling the scale without conformal invariance. So this leads us to ask the question that do theories with scale without conformal invariance exist? So from a quantum field theory perspective, the answer for 2 dimensions is no. That means the scale invariance implies conformal invariance in 2 dimensions. But for higher dimension, largely the situation is unclear. That's why we resort to the holographic approach, where we try to construct such bulk models which exhibit scale without conformal invariant isometry group, and we try to get insights for the boundary quantum field theories following the gauge gravity duality. I would like to argue that each outcome of studying this problem is interesting. So let me go through the table once. So if we get that quantum field theory allows for scale without conformal invariance, and while constructing the bulk model, we again find that bulk allows for scale without conformal invariance, that would be the first step towards building a holographic model. If we say that quantum field theory doesn't allow for scale without conformal invariance and bulk also doesn't allow, that would lead to a holographic no-go theorem. If quantum field theory allows for scale without conformal invariance, but bulk doesn't, then in that case, we can say that not all quantum field theories have a holographic dual, and in that sense, holographic theories are special. And if quantum field theory doesn't allow for scale without conformal invariance, but we find that bulk does, then we fall into the forbidden landscape of holography. In this work, we are able to find that a physically sensible bulk dual model doesn't allow for scale without conformal invariance, and we lie in the 2 regimes here. So I would like to explain the process we have followed and our analysis in the following slides. So first of all, I would like to mention that in gauge gravity duality, the isometry of bulk spacetime corresponds to the symmetry of a putative dual field theory. And here, to realize an isometry algebra of scale without conformal invariance, we resort to a warped product metric ansatz, which comprises of 2 manifolds. One is a fiber, which is a Minkowski space and ensures that Poincare invariance is still preserved. And the another one is base space, which has 2 dimensions. One is the usual radial direction, we are representing it by W, usual bulk radial direction, and an extra compact dimension theta. The fiber is multiplied with a scalar function, which is a function of the base space coordinates. So from here, from this metric ansatz, we can see that the base space should have the topology of a cylinder. That means the extra dimension we have taken should be compact. So starting from this, now we demand that scale invariant killing vector exist for our metric ansatz. So demanding that actually fixes the form of this killing vector as an equation 2, and we have two arbitrary functions jw and j theta. And what we realize is that demanding scale invariance constrains the function s as equation number 2, and the vector j is actually the killing vector for two-dimensional base space. So what we find is that our problem in here in 4 bulk dimension actually reduces to a geometric problem in 2 dimensions of the base space. One crucial aspect that played an important role in our analysis was the wild tensor. So the wild tensor is actually the trace-free part of the Riemann tensor. And for our warped product metric ansatz, we could find that the wild tensor actually simplifies a lot, and it becomes a scalar function multiplied by a reduced wild tensor. So this reduced wild tensor is trivial in a sense that it only contains the metric components, and all the non-trivialness such as the metric derivatives actually goes into the scalar phi. So in this work, we could actually prove that when we take phi to be 0, that means the one when the wild tensor vanishes, this implies full conformal invariance and vice versa. And when we take wild tensor to be non-zero, that implies scale without conformal invariance. Now to check the physical condition for our metric ansatz, we investigate the null energy condition. So the null energy condition is the statement saying that the stress energy tensor for bulk spacetime contracted with the null vector is greater than and equals to 0. And for if we assume Einstein's equation, this actually implies the Ricci tensor contracted with null vectors is greater than equals to 0. We can actually formulate this problem as a two-dimensional condition in base space. So the null vector factors here, and we also get the Ricci tensor, which also factorizes in the fiber and base space dimension. So to summarize, actually, we start with the null energy condition in the full bulk space-time, and that is equivalent to saying that a matrix Tij, which takes the form of equation 11, is positive semi-definite. So this, by analyzing this, we actually reached to the theorem that we have proved in this paper. So we said that if we start from a metric of the form of equation number 12, a warped product metric ansatz, then for that the following three conditions would be mutually exclusive. So the first one would be local geometric condition, where we say that the killing equations allow for killing vectors forming the scale without conformal invariant algebra, but no additional killing vectors for scale for special conformal transformations are present. That also means that we are taking wild tensor to be non-zero. On top of that, the topological condition, which assumes the warped extra dimension to be compact, and the null energy condition works as the physical condition, which should hold everywhere in the space-time. And so finally, what we find is that these three conditions are mutually exclusive. So finally, to summarize, it seems like scale without conformal invariance is naively possible, but it's rarely ever realized in the physically sensible models. And there is a famous no-go theorem in 2 dimension. For our work, we approach this problem from a holographic perspective, and we try to build models which could represent the isometric group of scale without conformal invariance, which could be possibly dual to a scale without conformal invariant quantum field theories. And in this work, we were able to prove a no-go theorem for 2 and higher dimensions of the boundary field theories. So in future, this work can be extended to different directions. So we can ask this question that what happens when we take more than one extra dimension? And what happens when we relax the topological conditions? So possibly there could be examples of end of the world brains which exhibit scale without conformal invariance or Janus-like models. The null energy condition that we took was classical, so we could possibly relax that condition and we could see some quantum effects like the Casimir effect. Finally, I would like to mention that an e-print uh, is available on archive, and you can find all the Mathematica files which are required to reproduce our results on the repository of Jagiellonian University. So you can find the link of this repository in the paper as well as in the YouTube description box. So I would encourage everybody to give this work a read. And if you have any questions or comments, you can send us an email. Thank you very much.